They mocked her. They said her dress looked cheap, fit only to wipe their shoes. And when she stepped on stage to receive her award, they tripped her, hoping she'd fall, hoping she'd humiliate herself for the world to see. What they didn't expect was that fall to become a billion-dollar moment. The moment that turned her into a legend, more powerful and famous than any of them. The red carpet at the 96th Academy Awards was a river of light, cameras flashing like 1,000 tiny suns across Hollywood's Dolby Theater. The air buzzed with anticipation, heavy with perfume and ambition. A-list stars glided past in haute couture, sequins that shimmered like liquid gold, silk trains sweeping the floor, diamonds catching every lens. Directors with Oscars tucked in their resumes walked arm in arm with moguls who could greenlight a blockbuster with a nod. The crowd roared for names like Emma Stone, Ryan Gosling, Zendaya, icons who owned the night before it began. Then came Lana Hill. She stepped onto the carpet alone, her ivory gown glowing under the lights. The dress was stunning, hand-stitched with pearls and tiny stones that danced like stars, its bodice hugging her frame before flowing into a soft, elegant train. It wasn't Dior, wasn't Chanel, it was the first design by her best friend, Mia Chen, a fashion student who'd graduated 6 months ago, pouring her heart into every seam. Lana, at 26, was beautiful in a way that didn't shout. Dark hair swept into a loose chignon, brown eyes warm but steady, her smile quiet, grounded. She carried no clutch, no jewels beyond a thin silver bracelet Mia had made in high school. Her presence was like a breeze, gentle, but impossible to ignore. The photographers noticed her first, a ripple of confusion, then laughter. "Is she wearing a flea market dress?" one shouted, his camera lowering. Another smirked. "Newbie playing princess." Their voices carried, sharp and unfiltered, as Lana paused for photos. A veteran paparazzo leaned in, loud enough for the crowd. "Who let her into the Oscars?" The fans behind the barriers, usually screaming for anyone, went quiet, sensing blood. Lana's smile didn't falter. She turned slightly, letting the gown catch the light, and kept walking. As Lana paused on the red carpet, photographers circled like sharks. "Hey, thrift store, smile for the cheap seats," one yelled, snapping her flats. "What's the brand? Walmart Couture?" Another jeered, sparking laughs. A fan shouted, "Go home, wannabe!" Their flashes blinding. Lana's smile held, soft but unshaken, her gown's pearls glowing defiantly. But the crowd's scorn cut deep, relentless. As Lana moved down the carpet, a pack of reporters in sleek tuxes and gowns swarmed, their mics thrusting forward like weapons. "Lana, who's the no-name designer? Charity shop special," one quipped, smirking for the cameras. Another from a tabloid show laughed. "Did you borrow that for prom?" The crowd lapped it up, some shouting, "I get a real stylist!" Their words echoed across the barriers, sharp and unrelenting, framing her as a joke before she could pose. Lana's smile stayed gentle, her brown eyes steady, but the reporters' glee stung, their mockery a live broadcast to millions. The carpet stretched endlessly, a gauntlet of judgment. 2 actresses, household names with Golden Globes and Vogue covers, passed her, their thin smiles like blades. "Cute effort," one murmured, her voice honeyed poison. The other, in a ruby gown worth a small fortune, flicked her eyes over Lana's dress. "Hope she's got a day job." A director, Grayson Wells, a titan known for epics, brushed by with his entourage. "She here to hand out flyers or seat guests?" he muttered, chuckling. His assistant laughed louder, ensuring Lana heard. As Lana walked the carpet, a trio of veteran actresses in glittering gowns brushed past, their whispers venomous. "She's a fluke," one sneered, her Oscar pin gleaming. "That dress screams desperation." Another flicked her wrist, muttering, "Bet she's here for pity claps." Their entourage giggled, eyes raking Lana's frame. She kept her gaze forward, serene, but their disdain hung heavy, a public shaming. She kept moving, her steps measured, her chin high, as if their words were just wind. Inside the Dolby Theater, the air was electric. The auditorium glittered, 3,000 seats filled with the industry's elite, their faces lit by anticipation and the soft glow of chandeliers. Lana found her seat in the front rows, a spot that raised eyebrows. She was an unknown, her name barely a whisper until 6 months ago, when Silent Dancer, a low-budget indie she'd shot in a freezing Toronto warehouse, hit festivals. Her role as a deaf dancer escaping abuse was raw, wordless for long stretches, her face carrying every emotion. Critics called it a revelation. Audiences wept. The film grossed $2 million on a $200,000 budget, and Lana, paid $5,000, had spent most of it on rent and ramen. Now, she was nominated for Best Actress, up against legends. Inside the theater, Lana's arrival at her seat drew icy stares from a clique of industry giants nearby. "She's out of her league," a studio exec named Victor Klein muttered, his Rolex glinting. "That gown's an insult to couture," his wife added, her voice loud enough to turn heads. A former nominee leaned in, sneering. "Does she think this is a community play?" Their laughter rippled, drawing smirks from others. Lana sat calmly, hands folded, her grace untouched, but their disdain hung like smoke, marking her as an intruder in their world. The ceremony began with music and laughter, Jimmy Kimmel's jokes landing like confetti. Lana sat quietly, her hands folded, watching the stage. Around her, whispers grew. A producer 2 rows back leaned toward his date. "Who's the girl in the homemade dress?" His date snorted. "Some festival darling. She'll fade by morning." A starlet in emerald silk, seated nearby, rolled her eyes when Lana's name flashed on the nominee reel. "She's no Meryl," she said, loud enough for Lana to catch. Lana's expression stayed soft, her focus on the stage as if she hadn't heard. In the auditorium, a starlet named Chloe Reed passed over for a nomination, glared at Lana's front row seat. "Her? Nominated," she hissed to her agent. "Silent Dancer's a pity project, 0 budget, 0 craft," her voice carried, drawing nods. "She's stealing our spotlight," another muttered. Lana sat still, hands folded, her calm a stark contrast to their bitter envy. During a commercial break, a bitter actor named Julian Tate, overlooked for years, leaned toward his date, his voice carrying to Lana's row. "She didn't earn that nomination," he scoffed. "Silent Dancer? Total sob story. Lana probably begged the indie crowd for votes." A producer nodded, adding, "Bet she slept her way to the short list." Their words spread, fueling whispers of fraud. Lana's gaze stayed on the stage, serene, but the accusation burned, a cruel lie staining her honest work. The Best Actress category arrived late in the night, the tension palpable. The presenter, Viola Davis, stepped to the mic, her voice warm but commanding. She read the nominees: Cate Blanchett, The Reckoning; Margot Robbie, Firelight; Florence Pugh, Tides; Zendaya, Eclipse; Lana Hill, Silent Dancer. The crowd applauded politely for Lana, but the energy shifted. Skepticism hung thick. Her clip played, a scene of her dancing in silence, tears streaking her face, hands trembling as she signed her pain. The auditorium went still, some shifting uncomfortably, struck by her power. Viola opened the envelope, paused, then smiled. "And the Oscar goes to Lana Hill, Silent Dancer." The room erupted, applause mixed with gasps. Lana froze, her breath catching. Her neighbors, stunned, clapped as she stood, her gown shimmering under the spotlight. The cameras zoomed in, broadcasting her to millions. She walked toward the stage, eyes glistening, her heart pounding but her steps steady. The crowd's roar grew, some standing, others murmuring in disbelief. An unknown had won. A nobody had taken the crown. As Lana walked to the stage, a murmur swept the crowd. "Look at her playing star," a director whispered, smirking. "That gown's a costume," another scoffed, loud enough for Rose to hear. A star in sequins giggled. "She'll trip in those dreams." Their chuckles grew, phones ready for a stumble. Lana's steps stayed steady, her grace unshaken, but their malice simmered, eager for her ruin. As Lana approached the stage, a group of younger stars near the aisle grew bold. One, a reality TV alum turned actress, flicked a program at her, snickering, "Catch, newbie." It grazed Lana's arm, drawing laughs. Another tossed a mint, jeering, "For your nerves!" The crowd joined in, their chuckles venomous, phones raised for any misstep. Lana's gown shimmered, her steps unwavering, but their petty cruelty surged, a mob eager to see her crack. She climbed the stage steps, the Oscar gleaming in Viola's hands. But as Lana reached the center, a figure moved. Eleanor Vaughn, a 3-time Oscar winner, Hollywood royalty at 62, her silk gown pooling like ink. Eleanor's smile was serene, but her foot slid forward, hidden beneath her dress, catching Lana's heel. Lana stumbled, her hands hitting the floor, the gown fanning out around her. The auditorium gasped, then tittered. A chuckle spread, cruel and quick. Social media ignited. Lana Hill faceplants at the Oscars. Most embarrassing fall in history. Cheap dress, cheaper grace. The cameras didn't stop. Her fall was live, global, a meme before she could stand. Eleanor stepped back, her face a mask of concern, but her eyes glinted. The crowd's laughter stung, 1,000 needles in the air. Backstage, as Lana steadied herself after the fall, a crew member in a headset smirked, loud enough for others to hear. "Thought she'd float up there in that knockoff dress," he said, adjusting a light. Another, coiling cables, laughed. "She's a meme already. Oscar's sad clown." Their taunts echoed in the wings, crew joining in, mocking her moment. Lana adjusted her gown, her face calm, but their scorn added weight to the night's cruelty. After Lana fell, the crowd's laughter fueled a digital storm. "Oscar flop of the century," a tweet read, retweeted thousands of times. "Lana Hill's dress couldn't save her dignity," another mocked, with gifs of her crash. A blogger posted, "She's a walking joke." Comments piled on, "Fraud! Go back to obscurity." Lana rose, gown gleaming, but the online venom surged, tearing at her moment. Lana's palms pressed against the stage, her breath shallow. She could stay down, let the moment swallow her. But she didn't. Lana rose, slow and deliberate, adjusting her gown with steady hands. The pearls caught the light, her silhouette radiant against the stage. A spotlight found her jawline, sharp and unyielding, her eyes bright with something fiercer than tears. The laughter died. A photographer in the pit snapped a shot, her hands braced, gown haloed, determination carved into every feature. That image would change everything. She reached the podium, taking the Oscar from Viola, who squeezed her arm, whispering, "You've got this." Lana faced the crowd, her voice trembling but clear. "Yes, I fell," she said, pausing as the room held its breath. "But not because I was weak, because I had the courage to walk forward." The silence broke. Applause thundered, raw and real. Some stood again, their skepticism gone. Eleanor Vaughn's smile tightened, her hands clasped too hard. Lana's speech was brief, her words unpolished but true. "This is for every dreamer who's been told they're not enough," she said. "For Mia Chen, who made this dress with love, not a logo. For Silent Dancer's crew, who believed when no one else did." She lifted the Oscar, her voice steady now. "Thank you for seeing me." The crowd roared, tears in some eyes, as she stepped off the stage, her gown trailing like a promise kept. Backstage, chaos waited. Reporters swarmed, but Lana stayed calm, answering with quiet grace. "The fall? It's just a moment," she said. "The work matters more." Her phone buzzed. Mia, watching from their shared apartment, sobbing with pride. "You're a star," Mia texted. Lana smiled, typing back, "We both are." The photo of her rise was already spreading, tweeted by a critic. "Lana Hill's fall is the Oscars' most iconic moment. She's unstoppable." By morning, the world had shifted. The photo dominated headlines. The fall that rose above it all. Variety called it a symbol of resilience. The New York Times, "She fell, but she owned it." Social media flipped. Memes of her stumble gave way to edits of her standing, captions like "Queen Energy" and "Lana Hill Forever." The gown, once mocked, trended as "the dress that broke the internet." Mia's phone rang off the hook. Vogue, Elle, Harper's Bazaar, all begging for interviews. A Parsons professor tweeted, "Mia Chen's debut is a masterclass, fashion's next genius." Lana's inbox overflowed. Dior's creative director emailed personally, "We'd be honored to collaborate." Gucci offered a global ambassador role. Chanel proposed a campaign citing "your authenticity." Lana read the messages in her hotel room, still in sweatpants, laughing softly. "Mia, they're fighting over us," she called across the room. Mia, sketching on a napkin, grinned. "Told you that dress was magic." The offers kept coming. Lana's agent, a scrappy woman named Tara who'd bet on her when no one else would, called with news. "5 studios want you," Tara said. "Big films, big money." The first was a reboot of The Hunger Games with Lana as a reimagined Katniss. $20 million upfront plus backend. Another was a sci-fi epic directed by Denis Villeneuve. A third, a drama with Spielberg's name attached. Each deal promised 9 figures over time. Tara's voice shook. "You're at $100 million net worth, easy. And climbing." Mia's career exploded too. Her gown, dissected on every fashion blog, sparked a bidding war. Valentino hired her as a guest designer, her first collection set for Paris Fashion Week. Her Instagram, once 500 followers, hit 1 million overnight. A WWD headline read, "From dorm room to red carpet, Mia Chen's meteoric rise." Lana retweeted it, adding, "Always knew you'd shine." Mia replied, "Only because you wore it." The photo of Lana's rise became a cultural touchstone. Time magazine ran a cover. Lana Hill, the new icon of fearless femininity. The article detailed her journey, raised in a small Ohio town, theater kid turned NYU dropout, scraping by on audition tips until silent dancer. It praised her silence in the face of scorn, her grace under pressure. "She didn't fight back," it read. She rose higher. The image, her hands on the stage, gown glowing, was framed in galleries, printed on t-shirts, studied in film classes. Eleanor Vaughn's name faded from the narrative. Reporters asked Lana about the trip, but she never pointed fingers. "Accidents happen," she said, her smile disarming. Online, though, sleuths slowed the footage, spotting Eleanor's foot. Hashtags like #Eleanor exposed trended briefly, but Lana didn't engage. Her silence was her strength. She let the world see Eleanor's pettiness without a word. The veteran actress issued a vague apology. "I regret any misunderstanding." But the damage was done. Invites slowed. Her next film tanked. Hollywood moved on. Days later, the Academy issued a statement. Eleanor Vaughn banned from future broadcasts for unsportsmanlike conduct. Her trip, caught on slow-mo, sparked outrage. Ban Eleanor trended as networks dropped her interviews. At a gala, guests shunned her, whispering, "She sabotaged Lana." Her legacy, once golden, tarnished overnight. Lana's viral rise eclipsed her, proof that grace outshone spite. Lana's films became juggernauts. The Hunger Games reboot grossed $1.2 billion. Her Katniss, a symbol of defiance for a new generation. The sci-fi epic earned $1.5 billion, her performance mesmerizing, per The Guardian. The Spielberg drama swept awards, adding another Oscar nod. Each success built her empire, her name now synonymous with resilience. She stayed grounded, donating millions to arts programs, mentoring young actors, always crediting Mia and her silent dancer team. Mia's collections redefined fashion. Her Paris debut, dedicated to Lana, sold out globally, her minimalist designs worn by everyone from Rihanna to royalty. She opened a studio in New York, hiring misfits like she once was. Lana attended her first show, front row, wearing a new Mia gown, black this time with a single pearl. The crowd stood, not just for Mia, but for them both. Years later, Lana stood at another Oscars, presenting Best Actress. The Dolby Theater glittered, but she owned it now. Her gown, another Mia original, sparkled, but her presence shone brighter. She spoke of courage, of falling and rising, her voice steady. The nominees watched, some tearful, knowing her story. Backstage, Mia waited, sketching a new dress. They were still just Lana and Mia, dreamers who'd turned a fall into flight. Lana Hill didn't need to fight. Her rise was her revenge. So if you've ever been laughed at, overlooked, or pushed down, remember, sometimes your fall isn't a failure. It's your spotlight. And if this story lit a spark in you, share it. Someone out there needs to be reminded. You don't have to shine to be seen. Sometimes you just have to stand back up. Like, comment, and subscribe for more stories that celebrate strength in the most unexpected moments.